She turned down a man who was rich, charming, obsessed with her, and begging for her attention. Not because she did not love him, but because she loved herself more. Sophie Beck spent her entire life being told she was not enough, not legitimate enough, not refined enough, not the right kind of woman for the right kind of man. She was stripped of her name, her status, her safety, by a stepmother who smiled while she did it. She rebuilt herself in silence, and when Benedict Bridgerton looked at her, really looked at her, and still offered her an arrangement instead of a commitment, she walked away. No tears, no begging, no, but maybe I can change his mind. She just left. And that single moment of a woman choosing her own worth over the comfort of almost enough, is what this entire season was actually about. The ending of Bridgerton Season 4 gave us the proposal, the wedding, the post-credits scene the internet is still screaming about. But more than any of that, it gave Sophie the ending she deserved. And today, I am breaking down every single moment of how we got there. Full spoilers, full receipts, full emotional damage. Let's go. Here is what we are covering today. First, how Benedict and Sophie went from the most painful cliffhanger ending this show has ever produced to one of the most satisfying proposals in the entire franchise. Second, the Araminta situation and the secret that completely changed the power dynamic of this entire season. Third, the shocking death that nobody was ready for and what it means for Season 5. And fourth, my full hot takes and final verdict on Season 4 as a complete season. If you are new here, welcome. We break down every plot twist, every emotional gut punch, and every post-credit surprise from the shows you cannot stop watching. Subscribe and hit the bell so Netflix cannot drop a new season without you having the full breakdown first. All right, Part 2 picks up immediately after the staircase. Benedict asked Sophie to be his mistress. Sophie refused and walked away. And now they are both living in Bridgerton House, trying to pretend the most charged moment of their entire relationship did not just happen between them on that landing. It is not working. Benedict is not over it. He is painting, obsessively, and in his study, hanging quietly on the wall, is the portrait he painted entirely from memory, his lady in silver. The woman he has been searching for all season. He has been looking at her face for months without knowing she has been downstairs making beds and folding linens the entire time. And Sophie walks into that study and sees herself on that canvas. She does not know he painted it. He does not know she is the subject. Two people standing in the same room looking at a portrait of one of them without either of them knowing what they are both looking at. That scene, the silence of it, the irony of it, is one of the most beautifully constructed moments this show has ever pulled off. And then Sophie tells him directly, looking him in the eye, "Being your mistress is the last thing I would ever want. No games, no coyness." A line drawn clearly and calmly. And finally, Benedict starts to hear her. But before he can do anything about it, the other relationships in this house start pulling at him from every direction. Violet and Lord Marcus. Benedict spots them together at Hyacinth's recital, and he is furious. Not because he does not want his mother to be happy, but because he sees the hypocrisy. His mother has been pushing him to honor the Bridgerton name and avoid scandal, while quietly building her own romance with a man who is not yet her husband. Benedict confronts her about it. And Violet's response is the single best line she delivers this entire season. She tells him that she was once just like him, carefree, full of quiet rebellion, and she does not want him to be lonely the way she was lonely after his father died. She is not pushing him to get married because of social obligation. She is pushing him because she loves him and she knows what it costs to close yourself off from love. That scene reframes Violet's entire arc this season. And Ruth Gemmell plays it with everything she has. And then Anthony arrives from India. Jonathan Bailey back on screen is automatic event television. But Anthony is not here for a reunion. He is here to challenge his brother. He sits down with Benedict and lays it out plainly. Pursuing Sophie will bring scandal to this family. It will affect their younger siblings' prospects. It will send Benedict into social exile. Is he actually ready to accept all of that? Benedict says yes. He is ready. Anthony, who loves his brother and has been through his own version of this exact fight, looks at him and says that saying yes when there is no immediate cost is very different from saying yes when the cost becomes real. Can you believe that? The eldest Bridgerton brother sitting across from the second and essentially saying, I have been where you are. I know what you think you are ready for, and I am asking you if you actually are. That scene, that is what a sibling relationship looks like on great television. Okay, I need you to lock in right here because this is the section where the whole season pivots. Benedict figures out who Sophie is. It happens during a game of blind man's bluff with the Bridgerton children. Sophie's face is covered. She is laughing and unself-conscious in a way she never lets herself be when she knows she is being watched. And Benedict walks in and sees her, not the maid, something underneath it, the way she holds herself, the movement, the voice, and something about her necklace. It matches the one he drew on his painting of the lady in silver. The pieces click. She is the woman from the masquerade. She has been in this house the whole time. He searches the house for her immediately and confronts her. He is hurt. He is confused. But here is what makes this scene different from the angry confrontation it could have been. He does not rage at her. He stands there and tells her he fell for her at that masquerade ball because she saw him. Not a Bridgerton, not a nobleman, just Benedict. And what kind of man, he asks, would he be if he could only love her as the lady in silver and not as Sophie herself? He gives her necklace back and steps away, giving her space, not demanding she respond, not pressing for an immediate resolution. That is growth. Actual, visible, earned character growth over 8 episodes. But before any of this can move forward, Araminta makes her move. She has Sophie arrested on theft charges, accusing her of stealing diamond shoe clips that were actually given to Sophie by Posey, Araminta's own daughter. It is completely fabricated. It is a power play by a woman who has been controlling Sophie her entire life and is not ready to let go. Sophie is thrown in a jail cell. The magistrate tells her that if convicted, she is looking at life imprisonment at best. And here is where the full picture of what Araminta has done starts to unravel. Posey, who has been a mostly background character all season, is the one who breaks it open. She tells the truth about the shoe clips, that she gave them to Sophie, that her mother lied. And that single truth starts pulling the whole thread. Eloise, God bless Eloise and her complete inability to stay out of things, helps Sophie sneak back into Penwood House to find her father's will. And what they find in that will changes everything. Lord Penwood did provide for Sophie. He left her a dowry. He did not abandon her. Araminta had been receiving £4,000 per year paid out of that dowry. For every year she kept Sophie in the house. She was not housing Sophie out of any twisted sense of obligation. She was being paid, and she kept Sophie trapped, working as a maid, stripping her of every opportunity, while collecting her money every single year. Sophie was never abandoned. She was stolen from. Benedict and Violet burst into the courtroom before Sophie is sentenced. They testify on her behalf. They get her released into their custody. And now, with the full truth of what Araminta has done sitting on the table, the Bridgertons use it. They leverage Araminta's embezzlement and her fraud against Sophie to force her into a corner. She either cooperates with their plan, or everything she has done becomes public. Araminta cooperates. The plan, and this is the part that is honestly genius, is to present Sophie to Queen Charlotte not as a maid and not as an illegitimate daughter, but as a distant cousin of Lord Penwood, Miss Sophie Gunn. From the country, just arrived in Mayfair, Araminta confirms the story. She has a strong resemblance to the Penwood family. The Bridgertons vouch for her, and Lady Danbury, who has been pulling strings in Queen Charlotte's orbit all season, works her magic. Queen Charlotte, when she finally meets Sophie, is sharp as always. She observes that Sophie must be interesting if she has managed to get the eternal bachelor Benedict Bridgerton to actually want to settle down. And the Queen, who has seen everything in this ton and is not easily fooled, decides the story is acceptable. Sophie is legitimate, the path is clear, and then Benedict proposes. At the Queen's ball, in front of the entire ton, not privately, not quietly, not in a way that could later be denied or minimized, publicly, out loud, with everyone watching. He redefines what it means to be a Bridgerton in that moment. He does not walk away from his family or his name. He expands both of them. He brings Sophie into his world by refusing to let his world set the terms of what is possible. Sophie says yes. And then they go to the balcony. The same kind of balcony where their story started at the masquerade. But this time, no masks, no silver gown, no hidden identities, no unspoken truths standing between them. Just the two of them, exactly who they are, choosing each other with full information and full clarity. And then the post-credits scene. The wedding, at my cottage, the country estate where their relationship first started to flourish, where Sophie let herself be known for the first time. The entire Bridgerton family is there. Anthony admits out loud that he was wrong to try to discourage Benedict. Kate playfully asks whose wedding they will all be attending next. Eloise says she appreciates weddings as an attendee, and Francesca says she has already had her great love. One was enough. Which brings me to the moment in this season that I have to talk about separately, because it hit completely differently from everything else. John Stirling dies in episode 6, out of nowhere, suddenly, the way real loss actually happens, no dramatic scene building to it, no warning. He and Francesca are happy and settled and building a life together, and then he is gone. And the grief that follows, Francesca in her mourning blacks, Michaela leaving without saying goodbye, Francesca sitting in a room full of family saying she has already had her great love and one was enough. That is some of the most quietly devastating television this show has ever produced. This is not a subplot. This is the emotional counterweight to Benedict and Sophie's joy. The show is saying, love at this level can be taken. It does not always get a second act, and the people who find it once are not always given the chance to find it again. What it also does, and book readers already know where this is going, is set up Season 5 in the most specific and deliberate way possible. Francesca, Michaela, the grief, the absence. The one was enough. I will have a full Season 5 prediction video up this week, but everything you need to know about where this show is going next is sitting in those final scenes with Francesca. Hot takes, Final 4, hot take number 1. The Araminta embezzlement reveal is the most satisfying villain takedown in the entire Bridgerton franchise, not because it is the most dramatic, but because it is the most precise. Araminta spent this entire season being the kind of villain who never raises her voice, who operates entirely within the rules the ton gave her, who punishes Sophie not through cruelty in the explosive sense, but through the quiet, steady application of power. And she gets taken down not by a dramatic confrontation, but by a piece of paper, a will, the evidence that she was wrong the entire time and knew it. That is a more devastating defeat than any shouting match could have produced. Hot take number 2. Eloise breaking into Penwood house to find that will is the most Eloise thing this show has ever given her to do. She has spent 4 seasons being the Bridgerton who refuses to play by the rules. And in the moment this season actually needed someone to break the rules usefully, she was there. Claudia Jessie deserves her flowers every single episode. Hot take number 3. The public proposal at the Queen's ball is better than the private bath scene, and I know that is a controversial opinion in this fandom. The bath scene is intimate and beautiful, and I understand why book readers love it. But the public proposal is the scene where Benedict makes it permanent, where he removes every plausible deniability, where he says, in front of every person in the ton who could judge this, that he chooses Sophie. The intimacy of the bath scene matters, but the public declaration is what makes it real in the world these characters live in. And my final hot take, and this is the one, Bridgerton Season 4 is the best complete season this show has produced. Season 1 was a cultural phenomenon. Season 2 was a tonal shift that divided the fandom before winning most of them back. Season 3 gave us the whistledown reveal. Season 4 did something none of the others attempted as directly. It put the actual class system at the center of a love story and refused to let romance paper over it. Benedict cannot deserve Sophie until he proves he is willing to pay the price. The show made him actually pay it, and it made us watch every uncomfortable step of that journey. 10 out of 10. Best season of Bridgerton. I said what I said. Comment below. Do you agree that Season 4 is the best Bridgerton season, or is Season 2 still the one? Give me your ranking in the comments. Top 3 seasons. In order. Let's have this debate right now. Let's land this. Sophie got her father's dowry back. Araminta got exposed and dismantled. Queen Charlotte gave her blessing. Benedict proposed at the Queen's ball in front of everyone. They got married at my cottage in a post-credits scene surrounded by the entire Bridgerton family. And somewhere in the background of all of it, Francesca Bridgerton lost her husband and is now standing at the beginning of the story that Season 5 is going to tell. Bridgerton Season 4 is streaming now, all 8 episodes on Netflix. Season 5 breakdown dropping this week. If you want to know where I think Francesca's story goes next, and why the way John died changes everything about how it gets told, that video is going to be everything. Drop a like if this breakdown gave you the post-finale catharsis you needed. Subscribe if you are new. Hit the bell so you do not miss the Season 5 prediction video. I will see you there. And Benedict Bridgerton, 4 seasons of commitment issues and you ended up at a cottage wedding surrounded by your entire family.